The place you live in may be built next to the water. It may be busy with traffic, running through the streets like blood through the veins of a body. And the place you live in will certainly be made by the people who live in it. That's essentially the same around the world. And it is people in contact with other people that make it a place to live in. But sometimes, in some places, things go wrong.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. في حدا هون يا شباب؟ في حدا هون؟ في حدا هون؟ في حدا هون؟ في حدا هون؟ حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
And even more people then need other people.
حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
And circulation is being blocked. And all you want to do is get away and be safe.
والله مريدة باليني بلوى فوق النخل فوق يابا فوق النخل.
This is the Unity World Cafe and Food Bank. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to give mostly asylum seekers and people in situation of destitution mostly, and also food poverty. Give them some fresh vegetables, healthy diet, the things that are difficult for them to get. We are both giving them food, but we also try to involve them in the working of the food bank. So one of the ideas is that they would work along with us and become volunteers themselves. The things I do that I like the most are like doing the dishes, cleaning up, vacuum cleaning. I love to do those things, but I end up doing lots of coordination.
I don't do very much. I try and do as little as possible. I do a lot of the food collection, so I go to the supermarkets and the shops, the bakeries. We collect bread from a bakery. So I do a lot of the driving and collecting the food and loading and unloading.
Yes.
I come down every Tuesday. We start to set up here. Maybe sometimes bring some soup down, take in people's names, which again I prefer to do because we have to interact with people, not just give them a number and a ticket and call out their number. So.
Well, my tasks at Mary Hill Integration Network are still kind of becoming defined because I only signed on at the end of last year, and then I was home in New Zealand for a little while, and then I came back. So help people with their English, to have conversations with people who are recent refugees or asylum seekers in Glasgow, and the purpose of that is dual. One is to help with conversational English, or Glaswegian as the case may be, and one is to teach people about the culture that they've come into and explain certain things that they might be struggling with. And one of the issues that they mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago was that They had been going up to old ladies and taking their shopping off them, because that's a really normal thing to do in Eritrea. If you see an old lady carrying something, you carry it for her. But obviously Glaswegian old ladies thought they were just being robbed. So we had a conversation about that, what not to do with Glaswegian old ladies, so as not to get arrested, that kind of thing.
Most of them that I work with, they were from Afghanistan. So the cultures are completely different, and it fascinates me to see that and to learn about that. But it was also, for example, now when I go home, I go usually twice a year, and every single time I would meet up with people who I used to work with to have a coffee, you know. So I think there've been this bonds created or friendships formed, yeah, which I find really nice.
He was also living a really harsh situation. He disappeared on and off, and then I would like try and contact him, look for him, visit him at home. We became really good friends. And finally, after ages, he got a flat from the council, but now they take it away from him because he missed an appointment at the job center or something like that. One of these benefit things. So I see him on and off, but every time he appears again, thank God he's well.
What the Home Office started using instead of dawn raids was they started using destitution as a weapon against people fighting to stay in the UK. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, we saw an increase in the number of people who are homeless, being made homeless.
I guess what I meant by the structures working against us as volunteers is that we're trying to make it easier for people to find a new life, become valuable, I suppose, members of society, contribute to the community. So you might do all of this, and hundreds of other volunteers might be helping with this exact same goal. And then the government that represents you reduces the quota or shuts the border or threatens to literally send in the army or something like that. And it just feels like it's completely undoing. It doesn't feel like. It is completely undoing everything that you've done.
And when David Cameron became Prime Minister, he set up a cabinet-level working group called the Hostile Environment Working Group, whose job it was to look at ways in which the government could make life difficult for immigrants in the UK.
Well, one thing I believe is that we should be worrying about concrete things like food and not abstract things like money. I mean, abstract things. I'm a scientist. I studied physics. I work in maths. I like abstract things in that way. So this is a way of want activism I like because it's related to concrete stuff.
Just to really welcome them here, to let them feel like a human being, and to put more love out.
My father is a minister in the church, and so I've grown up very much a part of the church, and there's a very intense focus, and particularly my father's church is on altruism and that kind of thing. It's quite a natural thing to watch the news and see horrible suffering that is close to you, geographically close to you, and think, well, why don't I just go and help out? Because again, I think that comes from growing up in New Zealand.
I mean, we're not a religious organisation. This is a political act of solidarity, not charity. We're basically just doing what we would hope someone would do for us if we were in the same situation.
It showed me the plight of people who are innocent people, and just makes me think, if I can do something to help them, then I will.